Why do you think that women are unapproachable? And why is this a problem now more than the past? And that's assuming that you think women are unapproachable, but this is a question that I think people are having.
I do think that women are more unapproachable than in the past. And I think because in the past you were raised in specific ways that you could call conservative or you can call traditional, and it instilled a common perspective among both men and women. Like we just discussed about perspective, how we're not doing enough to find common ground between us by knowing more about the other perspective and vice versa.
Yeah.
There was a common ground in the past already established that I don't think is there anymore.
That's true.
Between single parent households, between a breakdown of just the nuclear family in general, a continued decline in our education system, cultural perspectives changing, and
Major.
I would say negative perspectives rising in the kind of lexicon of youth culture.
Yeah.
That has informed new negative perspectives that we as young adults are coming into relationships and coming into approaching potential relationships now from a very bad place.
Yeah, I think it makes it difficult because young women are taught from what they see and hear in the culture that a certain way of being is attractive, which I think is actually unattractive to a lot of men. I think that's part of the problem. It gets confusing for men and women, though, as they're like, this is how I'm supposed to be. This is what a strong, attractive woman is supposed to be.
What do you think some of those traits are?
Well, first of all, we'll just go with visual attraction, which probably is attractive to men, but that kind of less clothes is better, idea, which then also gets women in a lot of other traps that they probably don't want to be in, but we're not going to go down that road. So that's just the physical part. But I think also the culture is telling young women to be strong and that your man should not tell you what to do. Like he shouldn't buy your meal. He shouldn't do anything that would say you're weak. Because you're not weak, you're very strong. And I also want to go back and say, like, I think some of the ways the culture has changed is good. Like, I think that women maybe way in the past were not assertive enough with what they want and how they should be treated because they were told, don't do that. So I think it's good that women are strong and can say, I should be treated this way, but it shouldn't go to the point where we're saying you are almost less than me and you shouldn't have any opinions on how I am. What I say is what I say and you really don't have any opinion against it. I feel like it's gone to that extreme, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where women are like, I'm strong and you better not like go against me in any way. Does that make sense?
Sure. The pendulum has swung in the other direction.
Whereas men are almost like less than women and they need to stay there. I don't think women like think that way. Actually, I don't think they realize they're thinking that way, but that's really what we've been taught through the things you hear in music and in movies and shows. And it kind of shows that like that is a strong woman. And I think women think that that's attractive when I don't think that is. And then we've kind of like poo-pooed on like the woman who cares for her children and takes care of the house and cares for her husband and his needs and making him food. Like that's almost like, oh, that's a woman of the past. Like you don't want to be that. Don't be that. But I think some men are looking for that. And not to say that you should not have any dreams and just be like, oh, I'm not going to take care of myself anymore. And I'm just going to be in the kitchen barefoot. And like, not that you don't have to care about yourself and have dreams, but you should care about the other person equally. I think we've lost that. Women have been taught that that's not how you should be anymore. And so it makes them elevate themselves over men without them even realizing it. I don't think they realize they're doing that. And so men are kind of a lesser human, are treated as a lesser human. And a woman actually doesn't want that either in the long run. Yeah. She wants a man who's going to protect her and love her and provide for her.
I think you wrapped it up beautifully because that's the knowledge or understanding that we are lacking on both sides of the sexes is the correct perspective of what will actually fulfill us in a relationship. We have a list of desires, we have expectations. Are they informed? Meaning, can we look at the past to successful relationships and what constituted the success in them?
Yeah.
And what you will find, because we have research, because we have scientific studies of what constitutes a successful relationship, you will find common operations within relationships. You will find common things like protect, provide that will come up in these studies. And on the male front, there will be things about a woman that they desire. It's interesting to me, just from my little bit of knowledge of seeing the kind of rise of the red pill community, which is a lot of men that are just kind of disenfranchised and have a very reductionist, I think in answer to the reductionist feeling that they have experienced from women in this culture. I think they have a response to that, a reductionist view of women, that they want women to be in the home and they want women to bow to their wishes and desires and dreams. And so there's unhealth on both sides of that, from the women not actually getting what they desire in relationships. I can't tell you how many celebrity women that I see and the perspectives that they deliver because of their struggles with relationship. It's just very interesting to me that there just doesn't seem to be a time in which a light bulb ever goes off. And I don't know if that's because they're in echo chambers, that they're just not experiencing other perspectives and other people having conversations about relationships that help them to have a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing to me with the repetitiveness of these unsuccessful relationships that I see on the internet, and the same type of complaints and the same type of regrets and the same type of endings in those relationships should speak to the mistake that we are having as a culture.
But it's hard to see that mistake when you don't have healthy examples. I think that's one of the biggest problems is you can be stuck in a problem, but you're not going to figure out the solution without seeing it done by somebody else. I mean, at least I find that for myself. Like I can easily get caught up in whatever issue it is. And I'm like, how do I deal with this problem? And I keep trying new ways that don't work.
Yeah.
And it's usually once I see someone do it right. And I'm like, oh, that looked like that worked well.
Yeah.
That's better than what I've been trying. Why don't I give that a try? I think that a lot of people just don't have good examples around them, and they might hear about success, but if they haven't seen it, it's not close to them.
It'll just elude them. Yeah. It's elusive in that way. I've been thinking about just the way in which going back to understanding what makes a man tick and what makes a woman tick at base levels, not specific to their personalities or specific to their desires expressed or unexpressed, but base level desires of biological women and base level desires of biological men that are very cut and dry, 90% of the time correct. Having a good understanding of that could be so helpful in our relationships. And just having that in mind as we relate or communicate with someone of the opposite sex, it would just be so helpful.